Hold up. Let's listen. Let's listen.
I do want to kind of address this. I don't want to get political here, but unfortunately, this does go a little bit into politics, and I'm
He doesn't want to get he doesn't want to get into politics, is what he's saying, which is fair. I got a lot to say, but what I have to say is off of what he says. I've seen this video before. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm keeping it a bean. I'm just putting in my 2 cents. But let's continue.
gonna make it a musical at the end. I do want to say this because I do know it is a hot topic, right? It's a hot topic about ICE. I'll tell you my general demeanor about things. You guys do know I emigrated from the island of Jamaica. I'm a U.S. citizen, but I was born in Jamaica.
Facts. Same thing with me. I'm from Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria. My family didn't come here until I was like the age of 6 or 7, right? So I I agree with that so far, so far. And this isn't me saying academics is wrong or trying to disprove them or trying to attack them, but this is me putting my opinion and to show that people can have different opinions on things and things like that. But let's continue.
Right? And by the way, I hold two citizenships, right? And you guys see how I deal with stuff here. I'm not here to sway your political view. I'm kind of logical with stuff. If there's anybody who would not necessarily be the biggest proponent of ICE, I'm one of those people, right? I'm an immigrant. I was born in another country. However, I am a person that believes in a democratic society that says majority rules and that says that we vote for what supposedly is the thing. So here's my thing.
Facts. I also agree. Like I said earlier, I'm not. I wasn't born here. I was born in Nigeria. My parents came here, immigrated here, became citizens while I was still young. So I became a citizen off my mother and father, things like that.
And it does pain me to see so many people. This is the social thing of our time in this year. It's ICE. And I'm glad it's not racism. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but people are upset about ICE and immigration stuff. And I'm glad it's not about black and white because in years past we've seen how that's went. For me and how I think about it, right? And I've seen some of you guys even said like I'm insensitive towards stuff, and I can't be insensitive. I was an immigrant.
Facts. I have the same opinion because there are situations I talk about with homies, homies of homies, or just people you just talking to out in public, and they're just like, "Oh, you're sensitive. Oh, you don't fuck with us." But no, I understand both sides. I'm an immigrant. Like I said, I came here when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I grew up. I grew up here in the United States. I grew up here, so I understand the perspective of people who are so patriotic. They're just like they think what they think because of their patriotism and what they've done to be an immigrant of this country, or just not even an immigrant of this country, but also fuck. I'm not trying to speak too soon because what I wanted to say will come up later. But let's keep watching the video.
I believe that what these issues are.
That's funny because that's how I'm feeling right now. How he was pausing and he had to think about what he wanted to say. That's how I'm feeling right now. That's how I'm feeling right now. Like, let me think. Let me watch the rest of the video. Let me make sure what I'm saying comes across as clear and concise as it possibly can. All right.
are not pouted at after an election. Yo, Trump, if Trump is saying beforehand, I'm finna build a wall and deport all illegal immigrants. If you don't think, and by the way, I If you leave it to me, I'll probably say, yo, just give everybody amnesty, right? Like, yo, close the borders, and everybody who already made it through, fuck it. Fuck it. You're a citizen.
Ready whenever you are, Michael.
You know what I'm after? You want to be the biggest store in the world?
I don't have YouTube Premium, so. But yeah, I agree what he says about the whole, like, I do agree with what he says about the whole, like, anybody that's already here and want to enforce these laws, fuck it. Give them citizenship if they don't want to take it, get them the fuck out of here. If they do want to take it, hey, you one of us now. I agree with that part. All right. But let's keep watching the video.
The person who won ran the election, but the reality, fuck it, you're a citizen,
Yes.
right?
Like I said earlier, I agree.
But the reality is, when the election happened, the person who won ran on, we're gonna deport illegal aliens. And I always hate when after an election we see such a huge social movement that's against something that a politician actually ran on, and I look at everybody to say, why didn't y'all vote?
This is where I disagree with Academics. This is where I disagree with him. But let's keep listening.
The nigga said he was going to deport people. So now we're in this situation where, there's craziness going on in Minneapolis. But they're not going to stop because people are mad. They're going to do what they claim half the country voted Donald Trump to do.
Doing
which
their
is
job.
deport illegal immigrants.
Doing their
Again,
job.
I'm for amnesty or whatever it is. But currently, the current administration, after an election, the people who voted for Trump acknowledged, or the people who voted, period, acknowledged that if Trump won, that was going to be his agenda, and he's not going to change it.
So that is debatable. That is debatable. Just because politics is always a tough topic to talk on, but what Academics just said is debatable. Just because. Okay. Academics said, well, y'all voted on it, and y'all voted for him, and he's been saying this, but yet, fuck. Let's go back.
So
Let me make sure what I want to say is what I want to say, if that makes sense. All right, let's listen to it again.
I think is that if people feel like ICE, and I'm for a politician actually ran on, and I look at everybody to say, why didn't y'all vote?
That's the thing, though. People voted. So if from the jump Trump was saying, "Hey, I'm deporting all these people out of my country," like that's my plan, or that's one of my plans. I'm getting them the fuck out of here. If he said that, and people heard it, or enough people heard it, but they're thinking a couple things. They're thinking, number one, yes, I agree, deport them, or they're thinking number two, hey, I don't agree with that, but I like the other things he has said. I like the other things he wants to do, or the other options he wants to do. So deportation might not be a big thing to them, but the other things he has spoke on, like, yes, I think these are important things, so I will vote for him. That's why I think Academics is wrong. All right? That's why I think he's wrong. Like, it's multiple options. It's not just that one thing, like, oh, he said he was going to deport them, so I'm going to vote. No, it's deeper than that.
The nigga said he was going to deport people.
It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that.
So now we're in this situation where, there's craziness going on in Minneapolis. But they're not going to stop because people are mad. They're going to do what they claim half the country voted Donald Trump to do, which is deport illegal immigrants.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, just because you voted for him doesn't mean you agree with that. Like I could agree with the other shit Donald Trump said he was gonna do, but I could not agree with the deportation. If that makes sense. If that makes sense, 'cause I know people are gonna be like, "Oh well, if you agree with him on that one on other things, then you agree." No, like no. You could agree with somebody on a certain amount of things or on a few things, but not agree with them on their overall view. All right. I could agree with Donald Trump saying he wants to make the lower, not the lower class, but the middle class. He wants to improve on that. Tax the like whatever he said he wants to do. I could be like, yeah, I agree with that. But the deportation, we need to get them the fuck out of here. Those immigrants, I could be like, yo, I don't fuck with that. I don't agree with that. But the other things he has said or wants to do, I agree with that, and that outweighs this one little thing. And I know there's people gonna be in the comments still saying, "Well, if you agree with one, no, just because I agree with some other shit doesn't mean I agree with the other shit." The power of discernment. That's what I was saying earlier in this video. The power of discernment. Be able to discern things. Take things. Take things. Okay, for example, I love Kanye West. I love Kanye. Kanye is my number one favorite artist of all time. My list of top 5 favorite artists, and I'm not talking about just hip hop or whatever. I'm talking about just music. Number 1 is Michael Jackson, and number 2 is Kanye West. I love Kanye, but at that same time, I can say, yo, some of the shit that Kanye does, fucking crazy, fucking stupid. I can say that because I have the power of discernment. But there's no one on this planet or on this world where I could agree with 100%. God. God is the only one I could agree with 100%. I can ask questions, try to figure out my solutions, but at the end of the day, God is the only one. I'm just like, hey, if you say this is what we need to do, or this is what you think, or this is what you want to do, okay, cool. But if you're not God, I'm not agreeing with you 100%. That makes no sense. Which is another topic that'll be brought up later. But let's keep watching the video.
Again, I'm for amnesty or whatever it is. But currently, the current administration, after an election, the people who voted for Trump acknowledged, or the people who voted, period, acknowledged that if Trump won, that was going to be his agenda.
No. They didn't. They didn't. They didn't. Like I said earlier, you could agree with some things, but not agree with everything. So they didn't agree with that. Well, not say they didn't agree with that, but like I said, you could agree with some things or one thing and not agree with the rest of the things, or vice versa. You could agree with some things, not agree with some things. You could agree with some things, not agree with one thing. You could not agree with one thing and agree with something. Like it's just there's options. You don't have to go full putting your eggs in one basket, basically. They'll tell you not to put your eggs all in one basket. Basically, that's how politics is. But for a lot of people, it's not the case. Either you're Democrat or Republican. If you're not, you're against me. That is not the case.
And he's not going to change it. So what I think is that if people feel like ICE, and maybe it's not deportation, maybe it's not deportation of illegal immigrants, maybe it's just how ICE is dealing with it, which I think that's a separate issue. I think these issues got to be handled at the voting booth. And for all these artists and so many people who are so loud about this, I think this is why you got to take these issues serious. If y'all don't want ICE in cities trying to do the president's bidding, don't make a nigga who is promising and vowing. Literally said it on day one, I'm deporting motherfuckers. Matter of fact, y'all niggas should just leave. He literally said it. And I hope when we get to election time, the sentiment of how divided we are over not only immigration, but even like ICE and how they're moving, will allow people to vote that there's not a repeat of this.
That's the thing, though. Like I said, you're assuming everybody who voted for Trump PSA, public service announcement. I'm just saying this for whoever comes to this video and watches this video. I'm not saying I voted for Trump or not, or didn't vote for Trump, or I'm a Republican. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is just because I disagree with one thing someone says doesn't mean I disagree with their overall view. Just because I approve of one thing someone says doesn't mean I approve of their overall view. The power of discernment. Just because people voted for Trump, for example, doesn't mean they agreed with the deportation and things like that. That does not mean that. All right. Man, I don't want to get too political, but let's keep watching the video.
And I guess that's where like my whole point ends, right? Because I feel like we're hearing statements, ice out. It's nothing gonna change. You know what Trump is gonna say? Motherfucker, 80 million people voted me in to deport niggas. So we gonna do that shit. Fuck out of here.
Presidents have a lot bigger role than that. I get why he's saying that, but presidents have a lot bigger role than that. It's just not that. There's other things that people voted on the president for, but Akademiks is he's saying what he needs to say, playing his role to get the clicks and views, which I respect.
So again, the only way to really solve these things, you can't let the person who literally says he's gonna do A get in, and when he does A, you're like, why'd you do A? Yeah. So don't want to get political here, but I do want to say, shout out to Bad Bunny. I think he's used his music to further his people's agenda, and I think he's on the opposite end of the spectrum of Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, I believe, did something politically that was for herself and her family. She wanted her green card, and she had some agendas for her family, maybe to get her husband off of a sex offenders list. She made those moves for her family and herself.
So let me get this straight.
Bad Bunny, I will give him credit, but I'm not saying one is better than the other. Bad Bunny, all his moves is for his fans. And his fans are primarily people in the diaspora.
Let's go back.
Community.
Let's go back.
All through Bunny, he's on the opposite end of the
Let's
spectrum.
go back.
Of Nicki
Let's go
Minaj.
back real
Nicki
quick.
Minaj, I believe, did something politically that was for herself and her family. She wanted her green card, and she had some agendas for her family, maybe to get her husband off of a sex offenders list. She made those moves for her family and herself.
There's some truth to what he just said of Nicki Minaj choosing her political side to benefit her family and herself, but this is what I say. Academics, as an immigrant yourself, it's tough. It's tough. Like I am doing this live, straight from my mind, thinking on the spot, but I don't think what Nicki Minaj what she's doing, I don't think that's what she's doing. Just because she's been speaking against the high ups from the jump. She's been speaking out from, well, I won't say from the jump for a minute now. She's been speaking from the jump for a minute. So she knew at some point this was gonna happen. She knew this was gonna happen at the time. Maybe she did it because she knew she has a big fan base where it doesn't matter what I say or what I do, my fan base will always support me. But she knew what she was doing. Not only did she know what she was doing, but she also knew. That's the thing, though. She knew what she was doing, but how do you know you're standing on the right side when you're making your stand? All right. How do you know you're making a stand from the right side? Because she did an interview where they asked her why she decided to support Trump, and her answer was, I'm not gonna lie, her answer was low key bullshit. If I'm keeping it a bean, let's try to see.